good Tuesday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald back with you. We're on the news side of things. We hope that for those of you that joined us on our face show tonight enjoyed that. But we've put on the news hat at roughly 11:12 tonight, and we're going to go right to our phone line tonight, folks. We've got our dear friend Sharon Crandall with us. She was with us the other night. Tuesday, I think it was last night actually, when we had you on, Sharon, and because we were getting ready to talk about this hurricane coming in, and it is inland now, and you're in the Tampa St. Pete area around 10 miles, and I'm going to just let you talk to our audience tonight, tell us what's going on there. I do want to play that video if you don't mind. I got your video downloaded. This was outside of Sharon's house just minutes ago. And these are the conditions that are down there along Tampa. I know there's other video out there, but this is Sharon's personal shot, and I want you to just watch this. I'm going to turn the volume up and roll the tape. This is going on in Tampa right now as we speak tonight at 11 o'clock. Power flash. A couple of power flashes. Now, Sharon, you're 10 miles east of there. That was not lightning, and you said this is weird. You've not heard any thunder or lightning with this rain squalls, have you?
Nope, not a thing. And we're in Palm Harbor, so that's where that video was from. It was from my neighbor. There's been no thunder whatsoever. I've not seen any lightning, and it's been raining all day, because I thought it originally said it was going to start 10 or 11 this morning. Well, I got up and it was pouring. It's been pouring all day long. But no thunder or lightning. It's very strange, but heavy winds now, and we're just getting through the worst of them. We were listening to Dennis Phillips from Action News, ABC Action News, and I like his weather. I told you that yesterday. But anyway, he said in our area, and I like it because he does area by area, and he said we're done with the worst of it. Our winds are down to 58 to 72 miles per hour. Now we have still a lot of rain, and there's going to be a lot of flooding. We don't flood, but they're not far from here. They're flooding, and we just learned the Tropicana field. The tarps or whatever blew all off of that, and that's where the linemen are been staged to come out and help us when all this is done. So and there's a lot of inches of rainfall in St. Pete and Clearwater and all that, and we have a rain gauge, and my husband, he dumped 5 inches and then he dumped 6 inches. He wasn't sure about the last amount, but it's around 11 inches that we've had, and we're still counting. So it's a lot of rain, and it's a lot of wind, really nasty wind, and just all over the street again. This
thing came into Tampa, a Category 3, 120 miles an hour. I think of what I've been seeing over the last hour, the highest wind gust, I think Tampa St. Pete has recorded is around 94 miles an hour. They had a wind gust at the airport. That was about an hour ago. And, of course, it's on land now, and I'm sure the winds are going to start dying down, but this wall of water that's going to cross the state tonight is headed for Orlando, they say, later tonight in the wee hours. Then you East Coast folks, Vero Beach, Palm Bay, also Melbourne, that area over there, get ready because it's coming. And that's going to be the next frontier, the rain. But I want to ask you a question. Now, where you were at, the other story that's not really, it gets lost in these hurricanes are the tornadoes. I watched some video today. And again, I'm a weather guy, and I'm a tornado junkie. I don't like to see severe storms hurt people, but I love studying them, and I'm just fascinated with. I missed my calling as a storm chaser. I should have. That's what I should. If I could do something tonight other than what I'm doing, that's what I would probably do. Would be out there in the field chasing these things and recording them. But Sharon, I saw some tornadoes on those films today that were Midwest type. I mean, Jim Cantor used the word violent, long track tornadoes that basically kill people. There's been a death down south of you, and I can't remember the city that it was occurred in, but that's the first fatality of the hurricane. But it was due to a tornado today. Did you see anything like that in Tampa? Did y'all see anything up there where you're at?
No, we didn't. We get I get the alerts on my phone, and it tells you flooding or tornadoes, and it had tornado warnings, but we didn't see anything. We didn't hear anything up here. Now, my daughter-in-law took her mother up to the villages, so my son went up there today, and there was one on 75, which is where he was. So, but he missed it. So that's the closest thing I came to seeing or hearing about a tornado locally. So we just didn't get any around here. We're just getting hammered with rain and wind. And I sent you the other picture. It was a picture of, that's down next door to the video I sent you. The tree is uprooted. She just texted again, said the whole tree is uprooted. It's an oak tree, I believe. And it's went through her pool street, but it missed her house, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I see that right now.
No tornado. In this area, we haven't seen any tornadoes. It's mostly been south of here.
Where is, I guess it's safe to say tonight that y'all dodged a bullet in Tampa, because this thing, it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, absolutely, because it went just enough, I think it was 20 miles south, and that's 50 miles from us, so even we are getting the outer bands, which are less than it would have been if, it came straight through.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre hurricane with the things that it did. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it came down Sarasota area. It looks like the owl wall came in down there, and I think I'm trying to think of some folks I know down there, but I know Port Charlotte. I've got some friends down in Port Charlotte tonight. But overall, I think that you said to me a while ago that if y'all can get through the next couple of hours, sometime after midnight, that things are going to start improving on the west side. But the folks on the east side of the state had better be hunkering down, buckling down the hatches. Because this is headed to you. And look, it's going to be a Category 1 storm throughout the night. It's not going to lose its hurricane status probably till tomorrow when it gets back over the water. And Florida's going to be in for a long night.
It is. And not only that, but even though we're out of the woods per se now, I mean, I can still, I can barely hear the wind through my windows, but I can see the trees blowing. It's still really bad. But the next thing is the surge. So it's not going to be as bad as they said, 15 feet. It's below, last time Dennis said something, the weatherman, I think it was 5 feet, which certainly beats 15. So that's next, because that's going to pull around. So, but we're not done with the rain and the wind yet, but I'm hoping within a couple hours it'll be where I can go to bed.
Well, we're going to let you go here. I know it's late. I do want to ask you back at Tropicana Field. That's where the Devil Race play, and you said that the roof got blowed off tonight, did it?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I just saw a quick picture of it, and then Tammy texted me right when you were going on the air and said, and I had seen it right before that, and said the linemen were all there, and they were concerned it was going to collapse. I don't think it collapsed. It looks like it's like the tarps on the dome part, and they're all shredded. And, I mean, there's so many events there, so I don't know where the linemen are going to go.
Tell Tammy to send that to me. We'll put it on the air if we're on. If she got a picture. I'm just showing the picture. This is the tree that fell in your neighbor's yard. I'm putting that up right now. So that fell into their house where their pool's at. But Sharon, overall tonight, look, I know it's bad. This is not I'm not trying to lessen the severity of it. There's going to be a lot of damage from the water. Yep. But I think overall, I tell you, when I talked to you 24 hours ago, I tell you, I was concerned. I knew that the weather people were saying this thing was going to weaken, which it did. But that was a monster storm out in the Gulf of Mexico. And again, it recorded the highest winds ever in a hurricane since we've been tracking hurricanes in this country since the 1950s, really 40s. And even though, as I mentioned last night, the colonists, if you read some of the historical records of the colonies, they talked about storms like this, and our modern people have said they were describing hurricanes. There was one that hit Massachusetts during probably the first 3 or 4 months that we got over here. The Pilgrims got over here in the 1700s, and so. But since we've been keeping records, this storm that hit that got up to 180 miles an hour, I guess it was Monday, is biggest, strongest we've ever had in the northern hemisphere. Yeah,
we were very blessed, and not that you wish it on anyone else. I wished it on land where there was no people. But God was good to again, Pinellas County here and where we live. And we were praying and we fasted on Monday, our little group, and we were praying that God would, calm the winds and the waters, and he did that for us, and I'm thanking him now, because it could have been a lot worse. So, and I'm hoping the rest of the storm, the other people will get through that all right as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, Tony Salamoni's in the chat, and she said there were over 120 warnings today in Southwest Florida for tornadoes. I don't doubt that. I looked at in fact, I've got the figure up here from the National Severe Storms Forecast Center, and looks like, is it this one or that one? No, it's this one right here. They reported officially 27 tornadoes, and again, it looks like over there on that east side, and again, the east side's always the worst of the hurricane, the southeast, northeast quadrant. And these storms came in ahead of it today, but there has been a fatality, sadly, to report tonight, one, and we have prayed there's no more than that. But listen, Sharon, I know it's late. I know you're going through, below tonight down there with this weather, and I'm so grateful for you to just come on the phone for a few minutes and talk to us about what's going on in Tampa. What's the mood in the city right now? I mean, I know your neighbors and so forth. What's the mood in Tampa, St. Pete tonight?
I'm not out in there, so I don't know. Well, actually, my group, I have two groups going. One of them is my neighbors, and one of them is just some friends that are checking on a group of us. And everybody's in pretty good spirits because it's the little stuff that's happened. I mean, the tree fell in the her lanai, but it didn't hit her house, and her kids weren't out there. So there's a lot to be thankful for in all this. So the mood's okay, but it is heartbreaking because so many people on Crystal Beach and everything where I live close to that, their houses are still going to be flooded.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot more there's going to be a lot more destruction, and they got to start all over again. People are still in hotels because they can't go to their house from the last hurricane. So, but we all pull together, and like my neighborhood, they're texting me while I'm talking to you. It drives me crazy. Ronnie said, I'll be down in the morning. I get up with a chainsaw, and it's like somebody else said, I'll bake some cookies. They can bake cookies. Are going to make
tell your neighbors you're on the famous McFiles News Network tonight. Of course, that'd probably laugh you off the phone. They're like, what's that? Who is that? Well, I mean, we ain't never heard of that guy. But that's good to know that things could. I mean, I'm glad that things not as bad as they could have been. 1.45 million people without power. Are y'all without power tonight where you're at?
No, it's been flickering, and we have it. We have the generator all ready. Like I said, Tammy's about it. She's, and she's about 3 miles from me. She's on the other side, and she's on a grid with a hospital, so they'll hopefully get that up pretty soon. We didn't lose it last time, and I don't know why, because it's gone off and on maybe 8 times. Every time it goes off, we go, oh dear, we hold our breath, and it comes back up. So
yeah, and
you've kept me from grazing for at least 15, 20 minutes because I'm eating my way through the hurricane. Like, oh, somebody called.
Well, I'm glad we're good for something around here, Sharon. We're grateful we're keeping you off the food here late at night. And late night snacks are killers. Trust me, I know.
Yep, they are. It was peppermint ice cream. Don't tell anybody.
Well, buddy, I owe you a lot. Thank you for this tonight and for giving us an insight to what's going on. And look, if something major happens and you're up, I'm going to be on here for about another 30 minutes, and just let me know, and we'll bring you right back on. But if you do talk to Tammy, would like a picture, if she's got it, of the roof, and we're reporting that tonight. I haven't heard it on the Weather Channel, but Tropicana Field is what we're hearing, folks. The roof has been blown off. Now, you told me that people were gathered there as shelters there, right? When that happened.
Well, the linemen, they have put the linemen.
Okay.
The linemen that are going to come and fix the power and stuff for us. That's one of the places where they staged it. She doesn't have a picture of it. I saw the same thing. It's on the news.
Okay.
They reported it, so it's on ABC, our local ABC News. So people around here, if they've got power and they have the TV on, they'll see it as well. But that's a biggie because that's been there for a long time. It's a landmark.
That's good. So, well, I do want to ask you about the linemen because I want to give Ron DeSantis a lot of credit tonight again. I really give him a tip of the hat, a salute, a heads up as being the great governor that he is. I know people have their opinions about him, about the presidential stuff, and that's another debate for another time. But tonight, look, Ron DeSantis gets Governor of the Universe award to me. He had, I think, 50,000 to 60,000 linemen from other states lined up already today before this thing even hit. He's got them on standby, and he promised the people of the state of Florida earlier this morning that their power was not going to be out for a long time, and he's ready to go. That's a good governor, Sharon, and I give him an A+ on this. And look, these things are not easy. People, and this is what I'm a Southerner, and I get a little wired up about stuff. It ticks me off when people act like these Monday morning quarterbacks, and they criticize him and they criticize the government or state for what they do, as if they could do any better. If they were put in this place, there ain't telling what would happen. And it's not an easy job. And I mean, we need to be very considerate of our leaders and understand these national disasters like this, these natural disasters, I should say. Look, it's trying on the government, and I think he's passed the grade in both Helene and Milton tonight.
And I see the linemen from last hurricane. There's Flapjacks is a restaurant up by us that we have breakfast at, and there was a group of linemen, and it was so sweet. Everybody was thanking them. They went up and they thanked them for working and putting their power back on, and it was really nice, and because you have to be appreciative of them. And then I saw also there was a line of women somewhere where I guess wherever the linemen were staged last time, and I don't think it was in my area, but they went and they said if you need your clothes washed, if there was a bunch of women, they were going to take their clothes and wash it and bring it back. So I thought that was pretty nice too.
Yeah.
So America is good. It's just our current government that pretty much.
Well, don't make me ruin a very good broadcast talking about Kamala Harris tonight, because I will lose my salvation. I just did a face show, Sharon. I don't want to have to repent less than 2 hours after spreading the good news around 8 o'clock tonight, and I have to repent for my behavior late night on the news show. So I don't even talk about Kamala Harris and the government tonight. But no, listen, buddy, I appreciate you for coming on tonight, giving us an update. And we're grateful that Tampa has been spared the worst. But our prayers continue to go up for y'all, because I don't think it's when you still got another hour and a half of this. And look, there's going to be some flooding, there's going to be some damage, but I'm grateful you're okay, your family, Tammy, all of you guys down there. I know Cindy Hutchinson's down that way. Bill Federer, our dear buddy, is in that area of the country. And I've got some classmates and other people. Drew Belcher, I know he don't watch the show, but I know he's down there, and I'm just grateful that this, as I said, I think it's a sentiment I'm seeing in the chat tonight. It could have been a lot worse for the Sunshine State tonight.
Absolutely.
Very much so. Very worse.
Yeah, you're right. Well, thanks for
bless you, friend. Anytime, I'll have you back on soon. Thanks, Sharon.
Okay, thanks, hon.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. Sharon Crandall, everybody. Put some fire in that house for us. Sharon is right there just east of Tampa Bay, and she was giving you a first-hand account of what has happened tonight. And again, we heard that the roof at the Tropicana field got blown off. Now, I don't know what that means, if the whole thing got blown off or it got damaged, but it's definitely been rocking and rolling. And if you've seen the videos from the Weather Channel, I do want to pull this page up. This is the Weather Channel, and hang on just a second. These pesky ads, you just want to...
Hurricane Milton is making landfall in Florida as a Category 3 hurricane, very close to Sarasota. But check out the northern eye wall as it moves on shore. An extreme wind warning is in place for Tampa Bay because the gusts there could be over 100 miles per hour. That's going to lead to widespread power outages, and those will continue as Milton slices across Florida and then eventually emerges into the Atlantic. Now, something to notice here. Notice the rain is mainly on the northern side of the storm, and that is where we're expecting the heaviest rain and the biggest biggest concern for flooding, as well as some of the strongest wind gusts. On the back side of this, there may be a little bit of surge on the Atlantic side, but the strongest surge will be south of that landfall. 9 to 13 feet of storm surge. Once you get down to Port Charlotte and Fort Myers, it could be in the 8.
Now, I'm going to stop that guy. That was from 8 o'clock tonight. Those fears have sort of subsided a little bit. Here is the picture of the storm at 8:30 tonight. And it came across Siesta Key, and you can see it right there with 120-mile-an-hour winds. It was a Category 3. Those are the warnings, the flash flood emergency. Let me just say this about that. The flash flood emergency is a step up from a flash flood warning. That means that it's life-threatening flooding, and that's outlined in the fuchsia coloring. Some of the highest wind gusts right there, if you'll see that statement right there, 105 miles an hour near Egmont Channel. That's been the highest recorded gust. Sarasota had 102-mile-an-hour gust. St. Petersburg, the winds gusted to 101, 97 in Venice, and 90 miles an hour. Sustained wind gust has been recorded at 78 and 60 near Orlando tonight. There's the wind field. That's the other thing about this thing. It's expanded. The other part, here's Fort Myers. Look at this video. This is just, what time was this? This was about 9:41, about a couple hours ago. This is Fort Myers tonight. And that's underwater. Tony, that's down your way. And that is the greater Fort Myers area in southwest Florida. And the other part of this, there's the watches and the warnings tonight. Now, as of 10 p.m., the storm has dropped to 110. It's a Category 2, moving east-northeast at 16. And they downgraded the peak storm surge. I don't believe that this 8 to 12, 9 to 13, they're a little bit less concerned about that from what I'm hearing. It's mainly a wind and a rainmaker. This is what's going to be the worst of it right here, the power outages, and DeSantis is doing a good job trying to keep the power on. There's going to be a lot of rain with it, and you folks in Daytona, St. Augustine, Jacksonville, look out. It's coming mainly south of Jacksonville, but the worst of the flooding is going to be near Orlando and up through St. Augustine, Daytona, and Ormond Beach, all in that area. There's the path of the storm that it took. It started out here. Let me get my whiteboard out and do my doodling like I like to do. And this is where it started here. Let me get my turn this to white so y'all can see it better. This is where it started. It did go east, and everybody was freaking out, but it took a more general path to the northeast, and there's other storms that have done that before. There's not any irregularity, folks, in what this hurricane does. When they get out here without any wind currents to guide them, they can wobble. I've seen storms go east, west, north, south. I mean, there was a storm here probably 3 or 4 years ago that went out in the Atlantic, got out here, did a U-turn and hit Florida, hit the south side, came up, did a U-turn and hit it again. So those things happen. As explained last night, folks, a lot of it has to do with the upper wind currents. But there was a front up here, and the interaction of the two high-pressure cells, one here and one over here to the east, started basically bringing this thing northeast, east-northeast tonight, and that's the full path of Milton and so forth. Now, I do want to talk about this. This is earlier today, and Hurricane Wilma 2005, that was the lowest pressure that we've ever recorded. But this storm went down to 897. That is a massive storm. That is absolutely massive. That was done October the 7th. This was a storm 2 nights ago, and you don't get more symmetrical than that. That is a monster. That is absolutely a monster. And that is unreal. That is absolutely unreal. And so forth. Let me come back over here. We're going to take some of your questions. Hang on just a second. Wrong screen. You're going to let me hang on just a second. There we go. We're going to take your calls. If you're in Florida tonight and you're in our chat room, please chime in. Tell us what your weather's like. Tony said tornado hit our street, spared my house. Thank you. That's great to hear. Tony, I'm glad to hear that tonight. Shar, she says she's in Broward County. All is okay there. That's South Florida. Shar, Wilma, Wilma, Shar, I'm glad you mentioned Wilma. Folks, that was 2005, and, I'm going to just put my whiteboard up here and show you this right here. In 2005, that was the year, it was maybe it was 2004. It was either 2004 or 2005. Maybe in the year of Katrina, I'm not sure, but it was during those 2 years at Florida, I'm going to tell you something. We had the most hurricanes. My dear mom, God bless her, she hated bad weather. I almost lived with my mom those 2 years because I would always go down there with her. Todd would stay with her when she hated bad weather. She just could not. She lived in Tallahassee. But I remember that there was 2 storms, Charlie and Francis, that literally did this. Charlie formed out here in the Gulf and went northeast, just like Milton did. He went northeast. Francis formed over here and went northwest and formed literally an X in Florida. And everybody was freaking out, and that was a sign, which I'm not saying it wasn't a sign. I think God was telling the country something about Florida. But it was it was 2004 because it was the year of the election. But that year it wasn't Florida, as it was in 2000, that determined that election with him and John Kerry. It was the state of Ohio. But I do believe that, look, folks, the bottom line is, and I want to just say this tonight, I know I'm sounding a little harsh about this weather manipulation stuff, and I don't mean to sound harsh. I know good and well that there are people out there, there are individuals, there are evil individuals out there that would love nothing more than to be able to control this weather. They would love to be able to do what these people claim they're doing. I'm not saying they don't even have the technology. I'm sure that there's some technology. There was stuff that was trying to be developed 50, 60 years ago. But, folks, every time that you heard James Akers Monday night, Qatar tried to cloud seed and wound up almost killing their people. Whenever man tinkers with the weather, man kills people. Man does stuff that's not right. And to add all this political jargon to it and make it into this is just not healthy. It doesn't do anything to advance the idea that we as a nation need to turn our attention to God and not man. That's my point. I don't say it too well sometimes, and I get a little terse in my speech, and I'll say it again tonight, folks. I've got friends. I got dear friends that believe this stuff. I've got family that believes this stuff. I don't disown my family because they believe it. I laugh about it. I don't believe it. I put my faith in the Lord. I put my faith in God that He's in control of this weather. He's control of this earth. And it's really not even so much about God in the sense of, because the thing that we don't know sometimes in any of these things, and I remember that year of 04, 05 when all these hurricanes were hitting, that there was so much going on with Israel and America and Bush, and it was unreal. The Gaza Strip was given away that year by Ariel Sharon in 05 when Katrina hit. It wasn't even 6 months after we forced Israel to give up the Gaza Strip that Katrina slammed into New Orleans. And there's always spiritual meanings, perhaps, in these storms. I'm not saying there's not. But when you get down to it, all of this, folks, all of this comes back down to the fact, the spiritual fact. This is our Wednesday night's faith night. But it comes back down to the spiritual fact this earth is under a curse because of the original sin of Adam and Eve. It has been under a curse for 6,000 years. And because it's under a curse, we have hurricanes, we have tornadoes, we have drought, we have fires, we have volcanoes, we have earthquakes. This earth is shaking tonight, just like these branches are in Florida in this hurricane tonight. And there's been all sorts of things throughout the last 40, 50 years that have been unusual in the weather patterns. We're getting close to the end, folks. We're getting close to the end of this age. And Jesus said that there would be these things that would take place. This should not catch us off guard. But I tend to believe, and I want to give God the glory and focus on Him in this, instead of acting like that Austin Powers and Dr. Evil are fighting each other in some white hat, black hat, cosmic battle, and Dr. Evil has got a machine that he's controlling this stuff. And again, if that's what you want to believe, all I can tell you is knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. I do want to ask you just a simple question, that when you stand before the Lord, and he asks you about it, because I'm sure he will, that why would you believe that? Explain to him your reasoning. And tell him by doing that, saying, Lord, I didn't think you were in control of any of this. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to fuss about it tonight. Believe what you want to believe. But anyway, creation groans. All righty. Anyway, Russell, I know there's been weather weapons since 47. But Russell, again, I'm just going to say it. Man has wanted to do it. Man may even try to do it. Man can't do it, Russell. Because let me tell you this, my friend. Man may think he's ruling this planet. God overrules man. And God will always overrule man when it comes to this creation. This earth does not belong to mankind. And folks, I might as well say this tonight. You know what the Biden administration's out there saying tonight? They're blaming this on climate change. It's always, there's two things you can, let me say there's three certains in America. Taxes. Number two is when there's a shooting that everybody's screaming for gun control. It's the guns that did it. And number three, when there's weather events, it's always climate change. Now you tell me out there tonight what's any different than the left blaming this on climate change than Christians blaming this on man-made generated weather. There ain't a thing different from it. Not one. It's just as stupid on the left as it is the right. Because neither are true. Neither are true. We've had weather on this earth since the days of Adam and Eve. We've had weather on the earth since the days of Job. It's not been any different throughout history. We've had hurricanes that have destroyed cities. We've had earthquakes. We've had fires. We've had volcanoes. We've had all sorts of weather that's been going on since the dawn of time. I'll just leave that alone. I'll amen myself since nobody wants to amen me. I'll amen myself. I'll amen myself. I'll amen myself. All righty, let's see. If you got a question, it's global. Yeah, John, they called it global warming. That's right. Polly Ann lived through those hurricanes. Polly lived through those hurricanes. Polly, were you part of Florida? I remember those. My mom was in Tallahassee. I tell you, man, those were some. And Wilma is important. That year, folks, I think it was that year, we had so many hurricanes that the whole alphabet was used up. Because that's how they name them, A through Z. We were into November of that year, and I think even as late as December. And they were naming storms AA, BB, CC, DD. They had to give double alphabet names to these storms. They ran out of the alphabet. That year. Wilma was a late November storm that was as powerful as any of the hurricanes would be in September and October. And it ripped up Florida. It tore up Florida. And Louisiana, I mean. It was Louisiana, Texas. By the way, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. What is this, the 9th tonight? There's rumblings that you folks in Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi, possibly Texas, had better be preparing because there is another batch of energy that is coming into the Gulf. They're saying around the 17th, 18th of October, which would be next weekend. And the 19th, 20th, 21st, which is going to be a week from this coming Monday, it's a bare possibility we're going to be doing this again, but it's going to be in a different section of the country. But anyway, all right. If you got any questions about this tonight, any comments, if you folks in Florida got anything, Gloria, thank you for that. Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Gloria, I couldn't have said that better. Man's got a lot of things that he wants to do. Man's got a lot of things he thinks he can do. but it is the Lord's purpose, and it is the Lord's power that prevails. I couldn't have said it better. Good job. Best comment all night, Gloria. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for some sanity. Anyway, John Quallen, good to see you tonight. Harriet Hunter's in the house. Tony's in the house. Cleo's in the house. We got some Australians. Now, you Australians down there, what do y'all call them? Cyclones? Is that what you got? Y'all have cyclones down there in the southern hemisphere. But we've had a couple of humdinger hurricanes here this week. There's no doubt about it, folks. And I'm not trying to lessen the severity of it tonight with all this other talk. Look, I'm just grateful this thing weakened. And by the way, why did it weaken? The wind shear. The wind shear that was above it. Guess who created the wind shear above it? The Lord. The earth. The air currents. And I firmly believe, I saw somebody's comment that prayer matters. I believe people got to praying. And I'm giving God the glory for this tonight, folks. I hate the flooding, and the scenes are just horrific, scary out of Tampa. But I've had everybody that has texted me tonight from Florida has told me this could have been a lot worse. We're very blessed. we may not have power right now, but we're very blessed. Bill Federer said they're okay, and very blessed, very relieved. And it could have been a lot worse. If you got a comment or a question, 10 minutes. Debbie, I believe God did hear. Well, American man, you know something. Can I just bust your bubble? Ain't nothing personal. The Democrats don't need a hurricane to keep people from voting for Trump. No, they've got 50 million Christians, American man, that won't even register to vote. They don't need a hurricane to do that. You got 50 million Christians don't even register to vote yet. They don't even care to register to vote. Why would they want to send a hurricane to stop people from voting for Trump? That ain't the reason. I've heard that all day long. That's the big boogeyman. This is some grand conspiracy to keep Trump voters from voting. If this is what it takes to keep Trump voters from voting, folks, disagree, American man, but thank you for joining us tonight. You can believe what you want to believe. Well, American man, I hate to tell you, the Republicans are that nasty too. You're making it about the Democrats. It's not. I'm not disagreeing with they're nasty, but American, let me tell you something. All the politicians are nasty. There ain't a one of them up there that ain't nasty. But anyway, I'm not here to fight with you. I'm not here to fuss with you. I'm here to tell everybody to get out there and vote. I'm here to tell everybody get out there and get registered to vote. Get registered to vote. Tracy Graham, good to see you tonight. Polly Ann, good to see you. All you folks in Facebook, if you got a question for me, man, we got a record crowd. I tell you what, YouTube better. We got 411 live viewers in X tonight. Salute to hear the rantings of a madman on a late night McFiles Wednesday night. Maybe I need to start doing these late night shows more. This X audience is putting YouTube to shame and Facebook. Goodness gracious. Thank you guys. I mean this sincerely. I'm just joking. I love all you guys that are out there, you YouTubers and Facebookers. And we're just, Chris just plays with you. I'm just saying this tongue in cheek. No, I'm grateful all of you here tonight. I really am. It's given me the people really come out for these weather shows. I think I need to start my own weather network. What y'all think? Give you weather updates every day. I could probably monetize that channel. I might just start doing that. Anyway, if you got something to say it. You got about 5 minutes. Good to see you guys over in X tonight. I appreciate you being up with us late. Hurricane. Thank you, Carol Smith. Thank you. Hurricanes affects Republicans and Democrats alike. If you think this is an effort to keep Trump supporters from voting, well, guess what? It's going to keep Kamala Harris voters from voting too. The hurricane don't discriminate. The hurricane didn't send a questionnaire ahead of itself tonight and say, tell me which communities in Florida are Republican. And while I'm at it, I might as well just bust some bubbles tonight. Tampa is one of the most Democrat cities in Florida. That mayor is as liberal as can be. But again, watch what I'm going to predict this. I predicted what happened in Helene, and it happened. I'm going to predict this tonight. There's going to be somebody post this on X tomorrow. I know Cleo will find it because Cleo's awesome finding this kind of stuff. Somebody's going to post on X tomorrow. This was an act of God that was trying to show Tampa a lesson. Give Tampa a lesson because it's a blue city. It's always an act of God when it hits a blue city, but it's a man-generated storm when it hits a red state. You can't have it both ways. Thank you, Carol. That's a 1A best statement of the night. Hurricanes affect both Democrat and Republican. And this is the thing tonight, folks. I can tell you right now, in the communities that are underwater tonight, they're not Republican and Democrat, they're Americans. And I don't care what the party affiliation they are. If I could help them all tonight, I'd be right there getting them out of their homes and helping them, everyone. I wouldn't care what party affiliation they are. And I think the neighborhoods, that's how they feel. They don't, the people up here in Tennessee that are going through the helping and the flooding and all that, we don't ask each other up here, what party are you voting for? We care about each other because we're Americans. This is who we are as people. It's not what we've become, but what we are, what we should be, are people that care about each other regardless of what our political affiliation is. On these events, none of this other crap matters. I guess that's what I've been trying to get across with this weather stuff, because folks, life is lost. We've had the death toll rose today here in Tennessee from the flooding, and we had a death tonight over these tornadoes earlier today. And this affects us as Americans. This does not target one group or the other. Carol, it's a great statement. Great point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Well, Debbie, let me tell you about the Uniparty being against we the people. It's our own fault. It's not the Uniparty's fault. We've let them be against the people because we've lost the ability to recognize that we're living in a republic, that we the people control the Uniparty. And Debbie, I'm not taking issue with you. The statement you make, though, is the sentiment of a lot of people, but I'm going to tell you this tonight. If 50 million Christians don't even care to go register to vote, Uniparty ain't got to do too much to do anything to we the people, because we ain't got no we the people left if we keep not voting. If we don't start voting as a we the people, we let the Uniparty get into power because we don't vote. And we don't stand up to the Uniparty at the voting booth. And that's why we've let them do that. I'll agree with your statement. There may be a Uniparty against us, but we've allowed it by our apathy. But anyway, that's my take on that. Jenna, you're right. We are as Americans. We are 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 Americans. All right, Facebook, you got anything to chime in? Tracy says, I just can't fathom how if you're a Christian you won't vote. Tracy, we got 50 million of them that won't. They won't even register to vote. They won't even register to vote. I don't want to get off into the Kamala stuff and the DeSantis stuff, what DeSantis had to say about her tonight, because I'm going to lose my religion if I do. I'm going to save that for tomorrow night. We got Chris Allman coming on at 8 o'clock, my dear buddy. Dan Glovac late tomorrow night. And we're going to have a good Thursday night. We're going to have a fun Thursday night. Chris is wired up. He said he's ready to rock the house. He's ready to what's the word? Shake things up. So Dan's ready too. I'm going to have two fired up Americans tomorrow night. So be with us tomorrow night on the news side. I'll be back here in the morning on the face side. Tracy, I'm with you, but sadly there are 50 million of them that don't. That's 50 million. Yeah. Well, Debbie, I'm proud that y'all registered 250 Christians. I'm glad you did. But we need about 50 million more, my friend. We need 50 million more. And Debbie, I got to ask you a question. Again, I'm not taking issue with you, but I got to ask you a question. These Christians should have already voted. Think about it, Debbie. If those Christians would have already been registered to vote, maybe what would have happened in 2020 wouldn't have happened. That's just a thought. That's just a thought. Just a thought. I appreciate the comment. Sherry, thank you. I like these late night shows too. I really like them. Char, you're right. Orlando's quite blue. Look, there's a lot of cities. There's a lot of cities tonight, folks. Asheville, North Carolina's blue. But I don't care how blue Asheville is. I'm praying for the people tonight. I feel bad for the loss of life. I'm hurting that. And what I'm angry at tonight is our government. I'm angry at the American government that has turned this tragedy, both tragedies, into political footballs. There is no depth of hell that can express my anger over that. Because, again, I don't give two-bit pins what kind of political persuasion the cities are. What I do care about is my fellow Americans are suffering tonight, and many of them are dead. Some of them are without homes tonight, without shelter, and it's about to turn cold here in the hills. We've got a cold week ahead up here. People without homes, without blankets, and FEMA is keeping people out of the Carolinas, trying to get help to them. The bureaucracy up here is enough to make me want to cuss. I mean, it does. It makes me want to cuss listening to some of the stories I'm hearing. And our dear friends, Arthur and Tammy Rice, he's got a church, and he's at least singing at a church, and they sort of stopped the donations yesterday because they got enough, and they're trying to distribute it. They're having trouble getting the stuff to the people. They're a local church there, right in the city of Asheville. They're having a hard time getting stuff to the people. So they had to stop. The donations were stacking up because they couldn't distribute them. It's enough to infuriate me. That's what I'm mad about. But I'm also mad at the people that are just sitting here straining at gnats to swallow camels while a country dies and a country is under duress from these hurricanes. Something to think about tonight. All right, it's midnight. It is midnight. You survived another day with the McFiles late night show. Renee, are you being serious with me? Global warming is the cause of all these solar farms putting radiation back in the atmosphere. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I vehemently disagree. No. Totally disagree. No, Renee, the earth is a-shaking. The earth is a-shaking. The earth don't need global warming to make it do the things it's doing tonight. The earth has been doing this for 6,000 years. But you're entitled to your opinion. But I don't agree with it. Deanna, good to see you tonight. October 17th in North Carolina is officially early voting day. Well, you know, Deanna, there will be parts of the state that can vote. There'll be others that can't, but that's a week and almost a day away. The recovery in Asheville is slow, but it's coming. I think again, folks, I'm angry at the federal government for the political football that they're playing with this. I'm sure that that's going to be a challenge, but I want to make it clear, folks, we think it's about the Republicans and all. It's going to affect both parties. It will affect, and I'll be honest with you, the way Kamala Harris has handled this tragedy, I've got a gut feeling that there's. I would put it like this: if I'm a Harris voter with a brain, and I look at how she's handling things as the vice president, just a common sense kind of guy here, just a common sense kind of guy. My first question would be, how's she going to, if this is how she's acting as vice president, what will she do if she's elected president? That should scare the hat and scare something else off of you tonight. But anyway. Howdy, Mac Man. Deanna, good to see you. It's good to see you. Debbie, you're right. The citizens are helping more than FEMA. They are. I'll totally agree with that. The response has been atrocious by the federal government. The response to this, and that's why I salute Ron DeSantis. And and I'm just being honest. My governor, Bill Lee, here in Tennessee, Newport, he sent the state here. My governor is a good governor. People don't like him, and I've heard a lot of unfair criticism of him. But I didn't agree with some of the things he did during COVID. But I will tell you this. Overall, Bill Lee has had a great 8 years of this state. And I sure hope we get another one like him next. I do. But Ron DeSantis deserves a lot of credit tonight. A lot of credit. I haven't heard too much out of the Democrat Governor Roy Cooper. He's been absent in Western North Carolina, to my knowledge. Now, you North Carolinians may correct me on that. I don't know, but he's been absent. He's been absent. Mac passion, Mac weather, Mac elections, Mac common sense. Debbie, don't give me no ideas. I'll be starting. That'll be the new channel, the Mac Weather channel. I like the Mac common sense and the Mac passion. That's been there for 7 years now. It's got me in trouble sometimes, Debbie. Got me in a lot of trouble. Even late night, early morning, all the time. That gets me in trouble. I like it. John Quallam says Kamala Harris is the type of person that if you gave her a penny for her thoughts, you'd get change. John, that is a good one. I may have to use that one. I like that one, John. I like that one. You'll have to get change. I know some other folks like that. That's pretty good. That's good. Make America McFiles smart. Deanna says, Cooper, hit the pooper. Deanna, are you from North Carolina? That's interesting. Oh, I love these late shows. You folks are fun. You folks are fun here late at night. Let's see if Facebook's got anything. Gloria says, yes, he's absent. Our Lieutenant Governor Robinson called him out on it yesterday. And Gloria, that's why leadership's important. That's why state elections are important. That's why federal elections are important. That's why local elections are important. You put your leaders over you for times like this. And the people you put in power, this is what you get when you don't have good leadership in North Carolina. And I've noticed that too, that he's been absent. DeSantis and Lee have not been absent. Just Lee was over here the day one of this flood. He was over here helping and getting the National Guard mobilized. And DeSantis, I want to just tip my hat to Ron DeSantis tonight. I think this man has done an outstanding job. And this unfair criticism of him is people that are Monday morning quarterbacks that wouldn't do a blanking thing. They could not even lift a finger to do half the job better than he's done with these hurricanes. And I got to say this as I go out tonight. Speaking of McPassion and me sticking my foot in my mouth, just shut up and keep your mouth shut. If you're not going to help and not going to do something to help the situation in Florida tonight and in North Carolina, stop complaining about those that are trying to help. They're doing the best they can. Now, I'm ticked at the federal response. FEMA has not done a blanking thing in my state, and they've not done a blanking thing in New York. And I dare say, after the little riffraff between DeSantis and Harris, I wouldn't be holding my breath, you Floridians, for a lot of FEMA help after this. I'm just saying. But Ron DeSantis deserves a lot of credit. That's all I got to say about that. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I am going to get myself in trouble if I don't hush. Well, Dennis, you're arguing semantics. Of course, Satan's the prince and the power of the air, but Satan's not a man, Dennis. Satan's not a man. Satan's not a man. That's what I've been saying. Satan is on a leash. And even if it is him doing it, God's allowing it. God's allowing it. So you can argue that. I'm not going to disagree with you. That's what the Bible says. I even talked about that tonight. The earth is a shaking, folks. It's under the control of sin. It's under the control of demon powers. It's under the control of the enemy, who steals, who kills, who destroys. But the atmosphere that we know it I don't care if Satan went to God and said, I want to send 6 meteors upon the earth. He's got to get God's permission to do it, D. He can't do that just arbitrarily. And being the prince and the power of the air don't mean he's God. He's a prince. God is God. There's a big difference. God is king over this earth. A prince is just a pauper. He's just a peon. But anyway, I love you, Dennis. But God's in control of this. God's in control of this earth. And he will have the final say in this earth. Just like he'll have the final say in America. All right, I got to get out of here. I'm sticking my foot in my mouth. Let me get out of here before I tick somebody off. I love y'all. Hope you have a good night. X, thank you for being with me tonight. Facebook, thank you for being with me late tonight. YouTube, thank you for being with me tonight. If you enjoy the show, put some fire in that house. I'll see you in the morning on the Bible study on the Faith Network. Chris Allman, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Dan Glovac on the Late Show tomorrow night, and some news clips and some updates on the damage in Florida. Thank you all for being with me tonight. Thank you for being with me on the live update. Until then, McDonald out on a Wednesday night. Have a good night, everybody. Be safe.